What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and we are jumping into some Orcs Must Die Unchained today. We're going to be taking a look at Shark Island and trying to complete that under the same rules that we've been doing everything else. We're going to use the starting set of gear, and we're not going to be using any traits. We're just going to be using max. Actually, let's try a new skin today. Let's go with the Lucky Tunic. I believe that is his tunic from the original Orcs Must Die games. There we go. So we have our barricade at tier 4, spikes at tier 4, 3 for the arrow wall, brimstone, and tar trap, 2 for the concussive pounder, 1 for the starting lion guardian, and that good old vegetable of mending. Now Shark Island is interesting because it's a returning map from prior to patch 1.6. Let's jump into it and take a look at how it works now. Alright, here we go. So we have Vermillion and that super shiny rift. We're going to start in the upper right here. First thing we're going to do is what I usually like to do, and it's block off this area here. Now, as you can see with the blue orc wisps, they're going to come around here, realize they can't go through, and then path themselves back. This should mean we shouldn't need a guardian, and we can just lace this up with as many arrow walls as we can possibly afford.
I'll just leave this.
Gonna drop that one a little bit lower so it covers the steps. And that's everything that we can do with the ceilings. In addition to that, we are going to
Whoopsie, almost hurt myself on
spike
that.
and tar this up nicely.
I'll just leave this right here. Measure twice, cut once. Whoopsie.
Right, and the last spot that we're going to use back here should be a brimstone. Not too many things are going to get back there.
Enemy has opened a minion portal.
Alright, and now we have the ship pulling up back here. Don't really have too much to worry about with those. Okay. Now, most of the orcs are going to look like they're going to go up towards the ship. They're actually just going to turn and then path down this little corridor that you set up. The reason that we want the brimstone is just to catch any kobolds that happen to move through here a little bit quicker than usual. And I think that should really be it. The spikes and the arrow walls will do a good amount to slow down the hordes that you're dealing with here. And we're going to take aim to please, since we will be having to do quite a bit of sniping just due to the layout of the stage. Now, I'm not sure exactly how great that setup's going to work on its own, but while that's taking care of most of the early waves, and because we have a bit of time, these nice little underground speed tunnels here, we're going to walk over here.
Never noticed this.
And put 2 barricades here. This will prevent any orcs from being able to path out of that ship that is coming in about 2 waves from now and getting through that opening. That was the old way to stop them, although because pathing was not quite as well done in the past, you only needed a single block. Okay, like the way this is going. Getting combos. The large enemy was killed, which was an ogre that wave. So that may be self-sufficient just as is. The good thing about the enemies pathing back over the traps is it will give the earlier spikes a chance to reset again and trigger on them as they turn around. So definitely a good thing. Alright, now for this section, we're going to want to put up some arrow walls because they will help significantly whittle down the enemies as they're coming. And they'll path through those twice, and pretty much the same way that we have set up over here. Now, I didn't get back over there as soon as I should have, and Smolder is actually going to be offering trap armor to the orcs. So you need to get her sniped as soon as possible, and then we're actually going to have to pick off the orcs that manage to get around the corner here. This isn't something that's going to happen often, but they basically just figure that you will probably be here for a while, and you would actually have just attempted to take out the hero when they showed up immediately. But, you know,
Enemies are attacking on
they're
another
a
front.
little bit better than that, so we can actually give ourselves a bit more time with the setup. Alright, now you want to try to set these up so that the majority of your enemies are kind of pathing on the center aisle here. They will kind of turn around and go back towards the walls. So about 7 spikes here will do you pretty well. Then we are going to add some spikes there. Put that around the corner just to make sure that enemies group up around wherever the arrows are going to fire, or shortly before the arrow traps fire again, which will make sure that the arrow traps are a little bit more effective. Fire that in your faces off just to pop something large. And mostly the spikes will have killed almost everything that you need to worry about here. Because it's going to take a little while for them to actually get through, you can start building up something for kobolds just in case they manage to come across here.
Whoopsie. Almost hurt myself.
And after you get that, you can start laying down some more spikes.
I'll never notice this.
Be sure to fill in the gaps here with arrow walls. They give you the spaces for it, and it's really helpful. Either way, that should be the majority of the setup here. Now, there isn't really a super important place to put your guardian here, because the only guardian space that is actually standard, which is, or default, whatever you want to call it, the standard guardian location up here, there's really not much of anything that's going to be coming out here until like really late, and you need your money for another area before you can even worry about this. So we're going to leave that alone for now. Looks like most of the enemies are getting themselves killed very successfully, which is awesome. Means our setups are ace. Alright, those guys are pretty much running themselves to death. We can pew pew one of the ogres as they come across this trap setup here. And they're basically already dead. I think I'll take So Beautiful It Hurts as usual. What other shenanigans are they going to pull? Alright, so they're actually getting through back here, which means that we could probably lace up the front of this with a few more traps so that it's a little bit more deadly. Oh no, they actually all died. Or they will all be dead. There we go. Okay, so with that, let us actually just place 4 spikes
They've
there.
summoned a boss minion.
And we have some explosive minions. Now here is the cincher. They are going to run across those spikes and have to deal with the arrow walls that we placed there. If the, there we go, they turned around from those barricades that we made, and they actually just ran back on the more spikes and arrows and died. So if your barricades are placed in just the right locations, at the moment, kamikaze kobolds won't even run into them, which I think is sort of a pathing or AI exploit. They really should just be looking to blow up whatever they run into, as long as it blocks their way in any way. But that doesn't seem to be what actually takes place right now. So if the developers actually take a look at this, probably something that you should look at, because it definitely makes it easier for players, because you don't really have to worry about kobolds as long as your stuff is built in the right place. But I did this wrong. If I would have placed 2 barricades right here and then a third here, I wouldn't actually have to worry about anything. But I have a lot of money, so let's just do that. Actually, I didn't even need to build that last one. I'm wasting time now. Anyway, what you should be doing is these 2 arrow walls here, because they do a lot to soften up all of the enemies that'll be coming through. Pop all of the smaller enemies so that they give you AoE explosion, and then lightning all of the shield guys in the back. Really all that has to be done, but if you want to get fancy, throw up a swinging mace as close to the edge here as you can. And you'll probably want to put a concussive pounder here. Then we'll put that there.
Cut once. I'll just
Spike.
leave this right here. I'll They'll never notice this.
I think we should be good. Yeah, we're starting the next wave already. And then we're going to sort of
Almost hurt myself on that.
do the usual checkerboard of
I'll just leave this right here.
spikes
They'll
and
never
tar
notice
here.
this.
Just so we can make sure that we get some combo coin too.
I'll just leave this right here.
Alright, now we have a hero out here again. So we're going to take Persistent now that we actually have enough experience for it. Smolder really won't do much for these guys here because, again, they're going to be walking through some crazy trap setups. And we managed to hit her to trigger her from the ashes. And she's done. Nothing super important to worry about there. Because of the fact that the waves are staggered now, it really helps you to move around and catch anything that manages to survive your ridiculously crazy trap setup here. But they have a few heavier enemies back here, and that's by design. This area can get really heavy later,
They'll never notice this.
just in case they decide to do something nuts. But you can see the enemies walking back onto those first set of spikes early really makes a huge difference. Yeah, just let the traps do the thing. Gonna mass Z again, and we've already set up partially for the final wave. The only thing that's going to come out here, I believe, are 2 ogres. Yeah, pretty sure we're just getting the 2 ogres. And so with that,
Whoopsie. Almost hurt myself on that.
just because there's going to be a little bit more coming out later on,
Twice, cut one.
going to soften them
I'll
up
just leave this
just a
right
bit.
here. They'll never notice this.
And because we have a ton of money, we're even putting some brimstones in the front. It's not what you're supposed to do with brimstones. Usually, because they're better for catching kobolds,
just
but
leave this right
they do
here.
a ton of damage. So if you do want some extra DPS, just to shore up your lanes, and you have excess cash, feel free to drop a brimstone. Also, and I haven't tested this yet, but from what I've seen, it looks like charge traps are fully recharged whenever you use a Gnomish repair kit. They don't get a single charge back, they get all of them, which makes Gnomish paired with brimstones extremely powerful, because normally brimstones take, I can't remember the exact amount of time, but it's somewhere upwards of, what was it, about 30 seconds to fully restock the charges. And if you actually have the Gnomish, then you can just fire on them and have them get all of their charges back whenever they get exhausted, which is really ridiculous. Especially since, like, per charge, they're pretty much the highest DPS trap in the game. What else do we have? Oh, I didn't even do this. So, if you block off these stairs, you can either do it here, here, or at the bottom here. The enemies that actually come through here, if they manage to make it through anything, will essentially path down and back over to this blacksmith forge, where we essentially had placed very few or no traps in this case. But that's something that you want to think about if you're considering doing Shark Island on Endless, as it will definitely help out.
They've summoned a boss minion.
Okay, so we got Scurvy Rum Rudder, and we got about a minute and a half. I should probably let the traps do their thing here, and go talk to Scurvy. I think I'm going to do that. So let's go join up with the speed pads and let them carry us there as soon as possible. Alright, and I took all of the usual one-shot this here boss traits. So we're going to stun him, hit him with the in your faces, and that's it. That's the game. Alright. So there we go. Shark Island 5-starred with a minute 21 seconds to spare, if I can use words properly right now. There we go. Good amount of experience. Account level 55 at the moment. So if your damage is a little bit lower, it's going to be because of account levels and possibly trap levels. But that pretty much is the solution that I came up with. It seems to work really well for me. You can probably do it with heroes that have better mobility even quicker. But otherwise, that's it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them for me in the description below. If this helped you out or you guys enjoyed it, feel free to like or upload it on whichever platform you happen to be watching this on. It definitely lets me know you guys enjoy this sort of stuff and that you want to see more of it. And other than that, I appreciate you guys for watching as always. But until next time, guys, have a good one.